Kenyans are confused. They don't know what to make of things. Yeah, and of course you all know what I'm referring to. The Director General of the Communications Authority of Kenya, Bwana Francis Wanguzi, comes out and tells Kenyans in plain language that those who will not have registered with the controversial Huduma Namba by May 18th will have their SIM cards, the SIM cards in the phone, switched off. Now, Wanguzi is talking at a very small function, somewhere way out there in Kisumu. Yeah, but his words spread like wildfire because Kenyans use their phone to survive. Yeah, M-Pesa is there. Vital calls that you have to make here and there are through your phone. Even for most people, social media is through the phone. And there are very many Kenyans who earn a livelihood, using their phone. Without their phone, no livelihood. And so, it is not surprising, the kind of shockwaves this statement caused. And of course, there's no doubt that Bwana Francis Wanguzi, of sound mind, was very much aware of the kind of reaction his statement would get from Kenyans. But even as Kenyans are still reeling, staggering, in shock, a statement comes out of State House Nairobi, from the President of the Republic of Kenya's Chief of Staff, Bwana Nzioka Waita. What Waita tells us is that we need to ignore, erroneous, wrong, false statements in a section of the media, saying that everybody must register for Huduma Namba and that phones are going to be switched off by May 18th. He says, no way. All that is false. Relax. Now, I want you to take very careful note of the fact that Bwana Francis Wanguzi, Director General of the Communications Authority of Kenya, works under the government of Kenya. And the head of the government of Kenya is the President of the Republic, who lives in State House, Nairobi. What's going on here? Because what should have actually happened is that Bwana Wanguzi should have received a call from State House. And then the same Bwana Wanguzi should have come out and told Kenyans, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. And while he's telling us that, he should have explained how this mistake, in quotes, came about. But no, Bwana Waita's statement seems to accuse the press, for misquoting or giving out false information, about the Huduma Namba and SIM cards being switched off. Now, that is very significant to note. Why? Because this Huduma Namba, there's a game that has been played right from the word go. Let me just quickly remind you. We were told in plain language that people will not be able to access any government services without the Huduma Namba. And then later, we were told, relax, that is not true. Now, of course, I'm aware that in the interim, there was a court order. People went to court. And the court ruled that the Huduma Namba must be voluntary. Nobody should be denied any government services because they don't have a Huduma Namba. But my point is, the government should have said, in compliance with this court order, the Huduma Namba is no longer compulsory. They didn't say that. What they said was, no, that information is not correct. What is going on here? Now, ordinarily, to clear any confusion, we start with what we know and we move towards what we don't know, or what we have questions about which cannot be answered. That is a very effective way of clearing confusion. So here are the facts. Bwana Francis Wanguzi did not make a mistake. This is not a clerk at the Communications Authority of Kenya, with all due respect to clerks. Yeah, this is the boss. This is the man who knows government policy like the back of his hand. So we must appreciate the fact that the government policy is that in the end, ultimately, every Kenyan and every person residing within the borders of Kenya must have a Huduma Namba. That's a fact. Fact number 2, State House is politics. Now in Africa, the way things go is that when the government decides, it has decided. And so, what the technocrats are told, like Bwana Francis Wanguzi, is that you guys carry on, move forward at full speed. Yeah, we will sort out the politics. And so, that is clearly what is going on here. Let's clear all the confusion. Let me tell you a story, yeah, so that we clarify this further, yeah, so that we're all clear, we're all on the same page. And this is a true story, okay? There was this man, he was not happy with his wife. In fact, he was very distressed with his wife. Why? Because his wife was not delivering, was not giving him his conjugal rights. Oh, I have a headache. Oh, I am bruised down there. It will take at least 2 months to heal. All manner of excuses. And so inevitably, the next thing this wife had made her sit up and pay attention. So she confronted her husband. And she told him, I hear you want to marry a second wife. Is it true? Now let me give you a bit of background here. Okay? This man already had very many discussions with his wife over this burning issue in this marriage. Now I don't know if you're aware of these discussions in marriages that just go round in circles. They never resolve anything. They just go round. You start here, you go round, you come back to where you started. So the man had told himself he would never discuss this issue with his wife again. And so when his wife confronted him, he denied. He said, no, where did you hear that story from? I love you. We may have our issues, but that's crazy. How can I marry a second wife? You know my principles. And he cuddled and kissed his wife and asked her what she'd like to drink. And he poured out a drink for his wife. End of story. And the wife continued behaving exactly the way she had been behaving before. And everything seemed normal. Then one day, the wife heard that this man was traveling to the village to see elders. So she wondered, he's going to see elders? Now the normal procedure in most customs, if you're going to see elders, you must go with your wife. It is preferable to go with the entire family, even if they're not all going to be involved in the very weighty discussions you're going to have with the elders in the village. And of course the wife was curious. But even despite her very intensive investigations, somebody once told me that when a wife decides to investigate, FBI kando. And so unfortunately, even the FBI failed in its investigations this time round. She could not be able to find out or figure out what this trip to the elders was all about. So she approaches her husband. I understand we're going to the village. The husband looks at her blankly. Allah, where did you hear that from? No, we are not going to the village. I am going to the village alone. And he kept that stone face of his, not giving any information out. And so, the FBI decided to urgently dig deeper, much deeper. She remembered she had a friend in the village, a woman, who was the wife of one of the elders. And when she called him, she was told that the husband is coming to the elders so that the elders can give him a young, energetic wife. Because according to the information given to the elders, his wife has health problems, health issues that do not allow her to deliver enough sex, to keep him happy. Now, I feel I need to remind you, this is a true story. Absolutely true. It's not fiction. And let me give you some more information so that it all makes sense. This husband, usually has a drink with his brother-in-law regularly. Now, this brother-in-law is married to the sister to his wife. And this husband discovered a long time ago, whatever he discusses with this man will reach his wife, the man's wife. And since the man's wife is his wife's sister, the information ultimately reaches his wife. And this man I'm talking about is a very smart man. He's an engineer by profession. Oh gosh, maybe I've given too much information. I don't want you to identify the person. I don't want the person, because a lot of people listen to this channel. Anyway, maziwa ikimwagika haizoleki. And so this man knew that his marrying a second wife would come as a big shock to his wife. And he was trying to lessen the shock by getting information leaked out to his own wife in bits and pieces, so that when it finally happened, there'd be many shock absorbers. The wife would not get such a big shock. Chris, mimi si mtu wa kulalala na malaya. Mimi si mtu wa kupick girls in the office. Mpango ya kando, that's rubbish. I don't do that. But I'm a human being. And I love my wife. I want to keep my family. Lakini sasa nitafanya nini? Na sipati hii kitu. This is the only solution. Ananiambia ni kwa sababu amezaa haraka sana. Na ni watoto 4 tu. Can you give me an alternative solution? Because I'm not hungry for a woman, another woman. I'm just a human being. Give me a solution. Now I have to stop that story there. I can hear your disappointment. But this saga is still unfolding. Your trip kwa elders is very close, but has not yet happened. Which gives me an idea. Maybe we could start doing videos of series, stories of what happens in Kenyan homes, and drama being drama stories. And if you're interested in this, just leave a comment below, and I'll count the number of people interested. And if I have enough volumes worth making a video, I will actually start a mini-series. Movies on this channel. Of course, we'll continue the core business of politics. But we'll have movies once in a while. If you guys want that, just leave your comment below. Anyway, back to what we're discussing. Now, this story perfectly illustrates the relationship between the government of Kenya and the people concerning the Huduma Namba. What is happening here is that the government is sending the Kenyan people a message. It is not even a coded message. It's very clear. Without Huduma Namba, you'll not be able to live in this Kenya. You'll not be able to buy. You'll not be able to sell. Your religious beliefs and inclinations? 4-letter word. Your religious beliefs. Or shall I rephrase that? Bad manners. Your religious inclinations. We want to make Kenya a safer place. This is the government still talking. And we must use this Huduma Namba thing. That is a good enough reason, without considering the other reasons which we may have. Those do not concern you. What concerns you is your security and your personal safety. You don't want to get blown up or shot at a shopping mall by some terrorists. Do you? Because our idea of the wall with Somalia is not working. My dear friends, that is the reality. But politics demands that we keep on dancing around. Like the story I gave you, of a man and his wife. Politics demands that we keep on dancing around each other for a while, before the human waste hits the fan. Now, before you go into the politics, let me touch a little on why the war with Somalia has failed and why Kenyan troops are in the process of withdrawing from Somalia. Oh yes, you've not heard? Now actually the wall has not completely failed, but for the wall to work, the wall has to go alongside the Huduma Namba. Now recently, 2 Cuban doctors were kidnapped, and it's believed they were kidnapped by the terror group Al-Shabaab in northern Kenya. Now, the efforts to find the Cuban doctors, and this is very interesting and indeed very instructive, have reached the point where investigators and security forces have consulted with elders, Somali elders. And these Somali elders are the go-between. They're negotiating with the kidnappers. Now, this is information that is in the public domain. It has appeared in various news sources locally. It's public. As shocking as it is. Now, a lot of Kenyans will get confused. But let me just make this very clear. There's no such thing as a Kenyan Somali and a Somali from Somalia. Just like there is no Kenyan Maasai and a Maasai from Tanzania. Without boring you with history lessons, because I've discussed this extensively in the past on this channel, at around the time African countries were getting independence, what was supposed to have happened, what was promised, was one Somali nation, with all Somalis within one country. But the British reneged on that promise, under intense pressure from Kenyans, Kenyan nationalists and freedom fighters, who were negotiating our independence. And so the long and short of what I'm trying to say is that a wall is useless when people have relatives on either side of the wall. But with the Huduma Namba, that problem is magically solved. Because if you don't have a number, then you don't belong this side. Period. The kidnapping of these Cuban doctors is very serious business. And the Kenyan government must get those Cuban doctors back alive. It's very important. There's something else you need to know, which many people don't know. The Al-Shabaab terror group is always desperate for medical expertise and even medicine. We've had very many raids on the Kenyan side where the terrorists have stolen medical supplies. And so based on this, one of my theories is that even as negotiations go on, the Cuban doctors are very busy in Somalia. Now, in my humble view, this Huduma Namba thing will not solve this security problem. It won't. Because when you want to solve a problem like this one we're talking about, then you go back to the root cause. You don't try to introduce technology. You don't try to introduce a magic pill to solve the problem. I don't think it'll ever work. History has shown us magical pills, in quotes, hardly ever work. Now on to the politics. Now I believe the government is making a very serious mistake. And that mistake is to take the handshake for granted. To misuse the handshake. And many people have said this. I'm not the first one to say it. It seems that the thinking now is that we can do anything and get away with it. Because Raila is on our side. Nobody else can oppose us. Therefore we can do anything we want to do and we'll get away with it. Now this is the reason why I think this is a big mistake. And Raila sycophants will not like this. But let me just say it in plain English. I think the government is overestimating Raila's power with the masses. Let me illustrate that by going back to the year 2007. Very many people are shocked at the way Raila Odinga was able to quickly get support, a mass support, right across the country. Most did not realize precisely what was happening. People were not supporting Raila. People were voting against Mwai Kibaki. And there's a difference. But politicians know this, and they've taken full advantage of this, on both sides of the political divide. And that is why, in 2017, Jubilee created a monster called Raila, who the House of Mumbi had to defend themselves against at all costs. And so, ultimately, Jubilee supporters were not voting for Uhuru. They were voting against Raila. And that is why, in the repeat election, when Raila withdrew from the presidential race, Jubilee didn't know what to do. They had no other strategy. They had no plan B in rallying their supporters behind them to go to the polls, to go to the booths and vote. And so in the same way, if you understand that clearly, if Raila and Uhuru are on the same side, then Raila is no longer as strong as he was when he was opposing Uhuru. In other words, he does not have the number of supporters he had at the time when he was in the opposition, when he was checking the government and checking government excesses. Right now, people see Raila as the government. And that is why if the handshake is not careful, they are going to create with their own hands a very powerful opposition against them from the people of Kenya. And this Huduma Namba and the Kifua strategy, forceful draconian strategy the government is taking, could be one of those things that could build up opposition against the government very quickly. In the last few days, I've been sending out feelers to learn how Kenyans are reacting to Raila Odinga supporting the Huduma Namba and telling people to take it without thinking. And the feedback I got is that Kenyans are mostly annoyed and appalled that Raila should ask them to do something without thinking. The feeling amongst many Kenyans is that this thing is going to benefit Raila and Uhuru directly, and the people of Kenya less. Now, I'm not saying that is a fact. All I'm saying, as I always say on this channel, perception, the people's perception is very important. And quite often, it makes the facts irrelevant. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.